Jez, another week, another kind of astonishing or potentially astonishing announcement.
Well, according to Donald Trump, one of the biggest things to be
Greatest
announced
days in the history of
civilization
ever.
So Donald Trump has come up with this peace plan in conjunction with a number of other countries and negotiators to bring peace to Gaza.
Yes.
Now, I have to say, as a foreign policy offering from the Trump administration, this appears to be one of the most thought out pieces of foreign policy that his administration has issued, compared to his last plan for Gaza, which was to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East.
Sure.
So
this is much more sensible.
It's more well considered.
Detailed.
It anticipates that this peace process would take a long time. And importantly, it has some significant buy-in.
And boy, oh boy, do we want this to work. Like, how incredible would that be if this could be pulled off? And yet, Jez, anyone looking at that announcement would be noticing there was one quite significant omission from that.
The actual Palestinian people.
Exactly. We had Donald Trump, we had Benjamin Netanyahu, and we had a whole lot of hope. But there's some very significant voices that are missing right now.
I'm Jeremy Fernandez in Sydney on Gadigal land.
And I'm Julia Baird.
And this is Not Stupid, where we discuss the news of the week and the stuff that's going up and down your feeds. Jules, lots to talk about again this week, including homophobia in sport. There's been another explosion in AFL.
Yep. But the pushback on it is also very strong, which is kind of fascinating to watch as well. Like, times are a-changing, Jez. Okay, let's nut out this 20-point peace proposal, Jez. So, big announcement. We had Trump and Netanyahu at the White House, this joint press conference, and this plan. I was going to say detailed plan. It's a 20-point plan, but it's actually lacking in quite a lot of detail, which is one of the problems with it. But it is quite similar to plans that President Biden came up with previously, and another with the French and Saudis in the United Nations in early September. So here, let me just go through the key points in this, just in case anyone is behind the news or in fact swamped with the news or indeed daily life. So, immediate end to the war with Hamas, releasing 20 living Israeli hostages and the remains of more than 24 hostages who are believed to be dead, and that has to be done within 72 hours of agreeing to this. And that's in exchange for hundreds of detained Gazans. It would pull aid into Gaza, disarm and potentially exile Hamas, provide an eventual pathway towards Palestinian self-government, we are told. It also repudiates, as you're saying, Trump's prior push to clean out Gaza to build an American resort.
And it's significant because this is the first time that Israel has agreed to a plan that anticipates a pathway to Palestinian statehood, which Benjamin Netanyahu has said up to this point was never going to happen as far as Israel was concerned. It also anticipates that Israel will begin pulling out of parts of Gaza, that there will be no occupation of Gaza and no annexation of the Palestinian territories. Now, this is a new development, and so it was kind of surprising that Benjamin Netanyahu was with Donald Trump agreeing to this plan, as problematic as it might be.
Okay, but can I go back to what Netanyahu has said about Palestinian statehood? Now, what a lot of experts say, like Tom Friedman from the New York Times, so the important thing is not what Netanyahu says in public, in English. It's what he says in Hebrew in Israel.
Right. So has he been saying things slightly differently? Is there nuance between the two languages?
So let's just be specific about what the Trump document says. It says, after the reform of the Palestinian Authority, which is led by President Mahmoud Abbas, conditions, quote, may finally be in place for a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood, which we recognise as the aspiration of the Palestinian people. On the video, getting his message out in Hebrew to people back home before the flight home, Netanyahu was asked if he agreed to a Palestinian state. He was emphatic. No, absolutely not. It's not even written in the agreement. But we did say one thing, that we would forcibly resist a Palestinian state. Now, just recently in the UN, he said giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7 is like giving al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11. Now, that's the speech to the UN in which more than 100 people from 50 countries, by the Washington Post reckoning, walked out of. So I think we have to be cautious before saying he's on board with the idea that this can move towards Palestinian statehood.
Well, he's agreed to the plan as it's written down.
He's agreed to the plan, but
by Donald Trump, right? So this is the problem. This is where it starts to break down, because there is detail here about what Israel determines to be an acceptable level of threat.
Yes.
To the Israeli state.
Yes.
And a lot of that will come down to the assessment of the IDF.
But there were things that worried me about this press conference, and a lot of the language was, we can do this or the easy way or the hard way. And that kind of threat. Now, this, I suppose, is the easy way, but if they resist and don't agree to this, then Israel can go on to annihilate or further annihilate Gaza, to uproot Hamas, with the full support of the United States.
What did you think about the optics of Donald Trump proposing to lead a recovery mission in Gaza with the support of Benjamin Netanyahu, having not actually consulted Palestinians or Hamas, which is a key player in this? It seemed to me a bit off that if you're going to be, making a plan for the Palestinian people, the Palestinian people should be involved in this proposal.
Well, if Donald Trump manages to pull off some kind of peace here or some kind of accord, that would be a fantastic thing. And I assume that he would want recognition for that it would be a very difficult thing to achieve. Whether you give any Palestinian people that it's anything other than a sense of foreigners deciding what to do with your...
Not just foreigners, Westerners.
People, foreigners, Westerners, and also Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the UK, who has been working in the Middle East ever since and obviously clearly wants to be part of it, but is seen by someone who created havoc or helped to create havoc in the Middle East because of his support for the war in Iraq, and an inquiry in his own country, the Chilcot inquiry, found that he had kind of over-egged the weapons of mass destruction, and that he had failed to track civilian deaths during that war, and he was condemned for having committed to that no matter what. So that to me would be the problem. We need to know which Arab figures would be supporting it. Now, I do want to say here that, so these are the people these are the groups that his proposal has the backing of. So the European Union, the Palestinian Authority, key Arab states, Israel hostage families, Hamas patrons Turkey and Qatar, and also Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia and the United States Emirates all praise the plan.
Australia's on board with the plan too.
And that's important. Now, this summer, all 22 members of the Arab League signed a declaration condemning the October 7 attack for the first time. So it's not without its supporters, but Hamas has got, 3 or 4 days to respond to this?
So what's in it for Hamas here? Because Hamas is being offered amnesty if it agrees to this plan, so long as it doesn't form part of the future governing force or body in Gaza.
But you know what they've never agreed to before?
Is disarming.
Yeah, demilitarising Gaza.
Yeah.
Never agreed to that.
Yeah.
So the initial reports we've had but not an official response from Hamas, we have not had that yet. Unofficial reports from leaders have been like, no, we won't support that. And then what? More carnage.
More carnage. So under this plan, Hamas is expected to give up the hostages, and that is its only collateral in this kind of standoff with Israel, right? So
exactly.
This is where it's difficult to see them giving up
and
that
then
upper hand. And then what?
Yeah.
Because there are no guarantees, and, for every promise that Benjamin Netanyahu has made, he also cannot be trusted as far as Hamas is concerned. Hamas can't be trusted by the Israelis. So there's a complete lack of trust here, and that is what this plan relies on, a great deal of trust to actually get down to point number 20 when they foresee a prosperous future for Gaza, which is a big ask, but this is the best thing that we have on the table right now.
I mean, we should also mention that Trump never spoke about the need for Israel to end its military occupation.
Yeah.
At all.
Benjamin Netanyahu gets to be part of the future plan, so there's no equivalent onus on Benjamin Netanyahu to also extract himself from any future governing role between the two countries, Palestine and Israel.
I'm nervous. Like, who isn't nervous about this? When we have the New York Times headlines, rare moment of triumph for Netanyahu. In President Trump's plan, Prime Minister Netanyahu got almost everything he hoped for in the end, despite mounting international isolation. And I think that is part of what is interesting and very much, as Hamas is sitting there and waiting with people who are desperate for this to end, we have the multiple declarations, including from UN inquiry, of it being of committing genocide. We have UN also calling it a famine. We know that more than 60,000 people have died.
There's the ICC warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity.
There's what's happening in the West Bank, which we're still seeing all through social media as well, which this agreement doesn't really get to. And I was really interested to see that there has been a seismic shift in the American public's support for Israel. So for the first time since it's been measured, more people are now supportive of Palestine. That has never happened before. Let me pull up the New York Times Siena poll. Okay. So the Times began asking voters about this in 1998. After the October 7 attacks, American voters, about 47% sided with Israel and 20% with Palestinians. In this new poll, 34% sided with Israel and 35% with Palestinians, and 31% were unsure. A majority of American voters now oppose sending additional economic and military aid, which is a massive reversal since October 7. About 6 out of 10 voters say Israel should end its military campaign, even if the hostages aren't released or Hamas is not eliminated. About 40% of voters said Israel was intentionally killing civilians in Gaza, which is double that from 2023. And what is this going to mean? If Israel has been the largest cumulative recipient of US foreign aid since its founding in 1948. To me, and when you look at where the changes are in these polls, it's amongst young people, and it is stronger amongst Democrats. The Republicans still broadly back Trump. But the damage this is doing to support for Israel globally is going to be felt for generations because it's strongest amongst younger people. Even on an episode of South Park, we have, a Jewish mother coming in and yelling at Netanyahu at the end of it and saying, I'm sick of being held responsible for what you're doing. I'm sick of blah, blah, blah.
But this is what you're seeing on the streets of Tel Aviv, right? The protests, mass protests against Benjamin Netanyahu. And yet here he is as a key player in this proposed peace plan with no sign of an exit from the leadership. Do you think that would shift things substantially? That
if he would exit.
If he would exit the equation.
I think what would shift things substantially if the US said, we won't provide you any more aid unless you fulfill these criteria. Like if that was held as a possible bargaining
This is
point.
what's curious about this peace plan, though, because at point 17, it says that everything that comes before it, including Israel's commitment not to annex or occupy Gaza, including the plan to provide more aid to Gaza, that all stands.
If they delay or reject the proposal.
Even if Hamas rejects the proposal.
Yeah, but all of this, including the aid operation, will proceed in the terror-free areas handed over from the IDF to this international fund. As determined by Israel. What's a terror-free area? What's the IDF going to hand over? What is a handover?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of missing detail in all of this. So,
and the other thing is too that Benjamin Netanyahu might have agreed to this publicly, even though he's saying things differently, translating it differently in Hebrew to his domestic audience.
Yeah.
He's also got to get this past his cabinet. And whether this peace plan passes the Israeli cabinet, and we know there are some seriously right-wing members of that cabinet who are against anything even remotely listed in this peace plan. So the chances of this getting by Hamas, getting by the Israeli cabinet, appear to be fairly slim, even though there's a significant amount of buy-in from Donald Trump's co-negotiators in this, including Qatar and Jordan, which is quite remarkable for a man who's managed to put so many world leaders offside in his 9 months of his presidency.
It's just overall the most immense amount of destruction. I think all we can hope for here is that the peacemakers will be, through all the madness and the chaos, will somehow be emboldened and able to stitch together something. Isn't that always the sign of a deal? No one's actually happy with it, but the war will end.
So, Jules, it's the pointy end of the footy season.
Yes.
Great time of celebration. You and I were having lunch on the
Saturday,
weekend.
yeah.
And found ourselves
On the couch.
watching
Who was playing, Jess?
both the Bledisloe Cup, New Zealand and
Yes,
Australia.
yes.
And the grand final
AFL.
of Geelong and the Brisbane Lions.
Well done.
Which we thoroughly enjoyed. It was
Yes.
it was really great to get into. So it should be a time of festivity
Yeah.
in the AFL. Lots of clubs ending their season. So it's a time of celebration.
Yep.
Mad Monday, they call it. Mad Monday is basically a muck-up day for the footy clubs to sort of go in and celebrate. So the Geelong Cats, who lost the grand final against the Brisbane Lions, had their Mad Monday celebrations. It was a costume party. Players basically picking a name out of a hat and picking a costume for one of their teammates. So people turning up dressed as the Fantastic Four or characters from the Minions. Bailey Smith, who's a midfielder, dressed as Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall. Patrick Dangerfield, captain, dressed as a character from Yellowstone, which is a TV series. Basically cowboy vibes, right?
Yep.
This all erupts into controversy not too long after. And one of those things that could just be so easily prevented, but Bailey Smith and Patrick Dangerfield take a photo together, two men looking like, sort of cowboy outfits.
Yeah, one behind the other. It was
One
like
behind
kind
the
of
other, quite affectionate.
Yeah, bit of an embrace.
And posted on social media with a caption, "This is what losing a granny, a grand final, does to you.
Makes you gay.
Makes you gay."
Yeah.
Evoking Brokeback Mountain, right? Which is a very well-known film about a queer love story between two cowboys.
Yep.
Starring Heath Ledger.
It's iconic.
So this has erupted again in a story about the kind of tone deafness around
Okay.
homophobia in the AFL particularly.
I'm interested in you. You look at that. You look at that and go, what? Tell me what's offensive about that.
So the photo of them embracing is not offensive, I don't
Sure.
think. Even
Cowboys
kind of,
cuddling. Who could oppose that?
yeah, I mean, it was a hugely popular film.
Oh, it was a
It's seen
great
as
film.
a seminal
Yeah.
sort of
So it can be a
queer story,
reference
right? It
on
can be
one
a
level.
reference, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But to then accompany it with a caption saying, "Being a loser in a grand final is what makes you gay."
Yeah.
And this, I think, is the problem. So Mitch Brown, who came out a few weeks ago as the first bisexual player in the AFL,
Yeah.
he has since left the West Coast
Bisexual
Eagles.
or gay. Like,
Or
'cause
gay,
no one's
yeah.
coming. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He called it out and said, basically, these guys need to do better. First, he said Heath Ledger, who was one of the actors in Brokeback Mountain,
Yep.
much better looking. True. Checks out.
But then he says, right, in all seriousness though, guys, do better. Last time I checked, losing a grand final doesn't make you gay, but being homophobic definitely makes you a loser.
So this is the puzzling thing, right? This is not a difficult controversy to avoid. I feel like for the decade plus that the AFL's been trying to educate and
Yep.
create a new vibe and to make the sport more inclusive,
Yep.
this is not a difficult thing to sidestep. Now, Bailey Smith has spoken publicly before about his mental health struggles and has been widely praised for that. And so It's also odd that he wouldn't have some empathy with what the impact of his words, particularly someone of such a stature, notionally the second best club in the AFL this season.
What is
very
the
successful.
impact? What is the
Well,
impact?
young kids are going to hear that, right? Kids are going to hear that. People who are prospective players, people who are players in the AFL right now are going to hear that and take away that being gay is to be a loser is to be gay. This is a hyper-masculine environment.
It's a subject of jokes.
It's the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
Hayley Conway, who's the CEO of the Pride Cup, made this exact point. She said, "My first reaction is how disappointing it is to see people using the experiences of gay and bisexual men, which is what the film Brokeback Mountain is about, as a punchline in a joke when they should be out celebrating what was a really terrific season for the Geelong Cats." And she said about the impact of these sorts of jokes, in inverted commas, it stops people from coming out. It stops them from being true to who they are. LGBTQI young people have a 6-time higher rate of suicide than their straight peers. I think if we weigh that up, it's about the importance of a young person and their dignity and their self-respect, or is it about the ability to tell a joke that we feel is funny? To me, that's not an equation at all. I think it's just so disappointing that what should be a time of celebration for Geelong, and they've done really well this season to have reached a grand final, to have it tainted by this particular episode. I should add that Patrick Dangerfield, who was one half of that photograph, wasn't aware. I mean, he didn't turn up as a Brokeback Mountain character. He wasn't a party to the joke
and then
that was made.
next minute.
Yeah, so he wasn't party to all of this.
Yeah.
It's nevertheless disappointing. What do you think the AFL is failing at here? What do you think Geelong is failing at here with getting this message across that this sort of talk is harmful and it's not okay?
Yeah, can I answer that in a moment? Because I'm interested in whether you think these kinds of incidents actually are helpful to the extent that you expose something, you have a big public conversation about it, and you realise it kind of is that thing about flipping shame. The shame is not in your sexuality. The shame is in being homophobic. And I really liked that post that flipped things that way.
I would agree with that, except for the fact that what it now says is that the rest of the world, the rest of Australian society, and the outcry about it has been, as you say, kind of comforting.
Yeah.
But what it says is the rest of society is a safer place than being part of an AFL football club.
It's pretty wild when you think that no one else is out.
It's crazy.
It is wild.
It's crazy.
There is a lot of people who are not comfortable to be who they actually are. And that has repercussions throughout your whole life.
I had an occasion to interview Ian Roberts a few weeks ago, who was the first NRL player to have come out, and he came out while he was still a player.
He's an absolute beast, isn't he? I did a yoga class next to him once.
God.
He is so big.
I took a photo next to him, and like his bicep is the size of my head. I'm not even exaggerating. It's so huge.
Yeah.
Loveliest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
And he spoke about how, difficult it was for him to come out to his family and how he was worried about disappointing them. And he said when he told his parents, his father said to him, "But you play front row for Australia." How does that kind of gel with being gay and being this massive tank of a man who plays front row for Australia? He couldn't quite make it marry up in his head.
That's so telling.
But this is the thing. This is the expectation that gay men are weaker. They're not as good at what they do, particularly in physical pursuits. And he said even in the change rooms when a teammate said to him he was uncomfortable about sharing the shower rooms with a gay man, Ian said to him, "Mate, don't worry, you're safe. I have no desire to get with you in any form whatsoever." I mean, it was this really kind of curious thing where I find straight men can sometimes think that they will become suddenly very attractive
you will want
to
me.
And it's like, no.
But then that goes back to the gay panic defence, right? Which was only just relatively recently outlawed in South Australia, wasn't it? I think it was the last state. Like for a long time, it was acceptable to beat someone up or kill them, or it was at least used as a defence.
On the basis
because you
of
thought
suspicion.
they wanted to, without even touching you, you thought they might want to go on a date with you, which is wild to any woman who's ever experienced any sexual assault by.
Okay, so what is the AFL doing wrong here? Because they've had joint statements, they've had pride rounds, they've had training programs, disciplinary action, but it still doesn't seem to yield
The results.
the environment that would deem to be acceptable or inclusive of people from diverse backgrounds, particularly from the queer community.
Can we really say there's been progress in the AFL if there are no out players currently playing?
They're doing all the right things on paper. This is what I'm saying. They're doing all the right things on paper.
But then that would be the question I would ask.
But then gay slurs on the field, several of them this season, players suspended.
Yeah.
And then
Are the
this episode
consequences enough for it? Is the training sufficient for it?
I find it so puzzling. It really is. Just of all the things to walk into at this end of the season, this shouldn't be up there.
So it was in this season that the AFL had to launch this education module that all of the players and officials had to complete, and it was about LGBTQI.
Yep.
And that was their effort to combat homophobia. But commentators have said, look, players don't really complete it as intended. Some of them say they just share the answers in a WhatsApp group and they just click through to the end and put in the answers and off they go. I think it has to be so multi-pronged. I think something like a module isn't going to completely solve things. We should actually also say as well that there was a player who dressed up as Carolyn Wilson, a prominent sporting journalist. And I think the comment on the social media post was best they've ever looked.
This is the best Cara's ever looked, yeah.
And it's also people have dressed up on the footy show to kind of ape her as well. There's strong strands of sexism in all of this too. I mean, it is interesting looking at women's sport, right?
So vastly different.
Yeah.
Particularly the AFL.
So many lesbians who are out, and it is not a drama and it is not a problem. I mean, when the Matildas were at the height of their fame playing the World Cup, I mean, pretty much every woman I know wanted to become a lesbian at that point. So, yeah, I don't know about stamping it out. That would be my primary thing. I would be asking why are people not out and what would happen if someone came out in the AFL. You can have all the rainbow days and modules and whatever all you like, but if there is someone who cannot be true to themselves, who is part of your game and excels at your game and that we're proud of, then what is going on?
What is the point of the sport?
Yeah.
Okay, Jules, time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the Week.
What have you got for me?
Okay, so we both know and love Astrid Jorgensen.
Yes.
Yes.
The doyen of pub choir.
Yes.
The maker of the greatest choir on the planet.
Yeah, joy bomb. Joy bomb in human flesh. Yep. That's what she is. And she is just so delightful and so talented. And she's gone around the world, making people happy.
Do you know what I love about pub choir too? Is the way she just roasts everyone who's there to sing.
Oh, let me get back to that.
I thought, when the first pub choir I went to, which was with you, you got it for me as a gift, and I just loved it.
It was
so
a revelation.
Much. And I thought I'd be there, and we'd all be holding hands and singing together, which is one of my favourite things.
Yeah.
And she's there, just saying, "You, tone it down." You're not as good as you think you are. She's just full of these roasty remarks.
Thing. She's really, really funny. She's really got that charisma. She's got a book out, just come out. It's called Average at Best. Now, her rationale for it, and I really loved this. I really loved the book. I've read it. I'm doing an event with her about it. But she says, in this book, you will not learn anything about self-help or how to win all the time. This is a memoir about embracing the mediocrity of life. I hope you don't think my writing is mediocre, but if you do, the book is called Average at Best, so the clue was right there from the start. But the title isn't really a disclaimer about my literary proficiency. It's how I view myself as a person, but also how I view you. Rude. And everybody who's ever lived. She says, I honestly believe we're all average at best. The odds are at almost every moment you're not the best or worst at whatever it is you're doing. There are billions of people on Earth. It's far more likely your actions will fall somewhere in between the vastness of best and worst. That's where the majority of life is lived, in the all-encompassing, electrifying average of everything else. I'm not trying to bum you out. I honestly think it's very freeing to stop striving for best all the time. And she talks about how rare and elusive it is, but actually, and there's so many funny stories in this memoir, but it is also the story of someone who's worked incredibly hard to do what she is doing, and she's found that this is really a very particular skill of hers. The way she lays out the notes, the way she gets an audience to come along, and all of her.
And you
skill
literally
sets
don't
in
need to
common.
read music. Like I do
no.
read music.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't really need to bring all my,
Yeah.
kind of, there I was doing my vocal warm-ups and,
Yeah.
revising my notes and
What
everything.
did we sing the first time?
Was it 1,000 miles?
1,000 miles. If I
Yeah.
could just. Yeah. And anyway, I really recommend this because she's got this great mixture of self-deprecation.
Yeah.
We're all average at best.
I find
but
that
also
immensely comforting.
owning her skills.
Yes.
She's got a very unique, awesome set of skills that she's used for this one thing. I mean, she kind of says when people say to me, oh, where did the idea come from? And she's like, there's no lightning bolt. It is years of hard work.
Yeah.
But the end result of it is just so much joy for so many people. But I want to get back to, I did take a note of this. What she has her go-to lines if people heckle her on stage.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
good.
okay,
Yeah,
you ready?
Go.
I'm no doctor, but I think we found the asshole of the group. If you're looking for the show where everybody paid to hear you talk, it's just outside this room. She goes, we auditioned for the solos just before you got here, so sorry, you didn't get the part.
I know. There are a few of us, like she kind of roasted a few of us once because I was really going for it. And she
You
goes,
were going for it.
oh, yes, you're the former choir kid, aren't you? Yes.
You felt seen,
guilty.
shamed, and yet also strangely alive all at once. She was also an Australian Story this week, and I would check that out as well. It's just hers is a real story of joy, I think.
Do you know how many not stupid listeners I've bumped into at pub choir?
Oh yes, I have
Our
to
people
now. Yeah.
are at pub choir.
Yeah.
Pub choir people are on our pod.
Yeah, you take the joy
Love
where
it.
you can find
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And just the idea of being physically present with a whole bunch of other people and sharing in something communally. We do that less and less these days, and I think that's really important and
It's electrifying.
psychologically. Yeah. What have you got for me?
Okay, so, Jules, this one's right up your alley because we're in world record territory, which is one of your
I
greatest
dropped the ball on that.
passions.
Yeah, I love it.
And you're still working on your world record attempt,
Yeah.
whatever that might be.
Yeah, it'll come.
But I have news of one Egyptian man in Egypt
Yeah.
who is what they call a strong man. He's like 6'3", 155 kilos. He has managed to pull a ship 700 tons
What?
with his teeth.
Stop it. Dentists weep around the world. Oh my God. What? Not with
rope,
muscle,
yeah,
no.
just a rope gripping with his teeth and pulling 700 tons across the water. So he's submitted that world record attempt to the Guinness Book of World Records. It's yet to be verified.
What was the previous record?
I've got no idea.
700 tons. I need a picture of that.
No, but then it went really well, so he decided to have another crack with two
Ships.
ships,
I was going to say one isn't enough. Yeah.
totaling 1,150 tons.
Stop.
And I'll tell you what he eats for breakfast because you might want to add this to your
Yeah.
kind of
Yep, I
your
do.
training diet.
Yep.
Diet rich in protein and
Yep.
iron, at least a dozen eggs a day, 2 whole chickens, and 5 kilograms of fish every day. He trains for 2 hours,
Sounds like a teenage boy.
3 times a day.
Oh, that just sounds exhausting.
And guess what his key to these incredible feats, physical feats
I don't know.
is?
Has he got he can't have proper teeth to do
I'm
that.
telling you, you'd be good at this too.
What's the key?
His key to success,
Yeah.
he believes that speaking with the objects he pulls beforehand
Oh.
helps him establish
What does he say to them?
a connection.
Do we know what he says? Like, what would you say to a 700-ton object you're about to move with your teeth?
What'd you say?
Steady
Come
on.
along now. Come
Come along.
You can do it.
Buckle up, baby. And then it'd move 3 centimetres.
Yeah. But
Oh.
so he's done this before. In March, he was formally recognised by the Guinness Book of World Records for the heaviest rail pull. He pulled a train weighing 279 tonnes with a rope held by his teeth for a distance of nearly 10 metres.
Can you explain to me the teeth? I know I'm getting hung up on this. Why wouldn't you use your arms?
So he...
Like, isn't that where
Because
your
you
muscles
can,
are?
Jules. Like, it's like if you've overtrained your arms, what else is there to achieve? But let me tell you what his next goal is, because
Yeah.
you'll love this.
Yeah.
His next goal is to pull a plane across the tarmac
Useful.
using his eyelid muscles.
Stop it.
So,
How?
Jules, I'm putting this all out in front of you
No.
because I'm trying to give you encouragement here, all right?
Yeah.
You can't be what you
no,
can't
you're
see.
right. You're right. I need to start working out my eyelids. Fortifying my teeth.
So there you
Brushing
go.
really well. Wow, that is inspiring. But have you found what he said?
So, okay, here's what he said. He said, I grunted and yelled as I pulled the ship, and I
would.
spoke to it,
Okay.
saying, it's either you or me today.
Wow, I wouldn't find that comforting if I was the inanimate object.
Well, I wouldn't find it comforting if I was facing a 6'3", 155-kilogram man in front of me either. So, I don't know. I reckon I'd give way.
And on that note... Oh, Jen, it's been a pleasure.
Great to catch up, Jules. Now, the eagle-eyed among you, if you're watching us on YouTube,
Yes.
the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed, ta-da, on-set cake, happy birthday to our Lord and Leader,
Lord, golly.
Lady and Leader, Madeline
Lady
Jenner,
sounds wrong.
our producer, who is celebrating her birthday this week. Unfortunately, she's called in sick today. She's had a bit of an episode with her little puppy.
Well, her puppy swallowed a screw.
So
Very
everything's fine.
unfortunate.
They're
Everything's
dealing with it.
fine, but here's her birthday
But
cake.
happy birthday,
Yeah.
Mads.
Birthday.
We will enjoy this on your behalf. Jules, great to catch up.
Always. If you've got any feedback, you can email us at notstupid@abc.net.au.
And don't forget, we're now on YouTube as well, so please click on YouTube and you can see us in
Also,
the flesh.
iView.
And iView, yes.
Mate, where aren't we at this point? See you next week.
See you, Jules.